Hey everyone, Tom here from Ludicrous Feed. Thanks for joining us on tonight's live stream. Today is the 2nd of February 2023. Lots of developments to chat about tonight, so thank you so much for joining us live. If you are, welcome. And if you're watching on replay, hello as well. And if you're listening on our podcast, howdy. Thanks for tuning in. Let's welcome our regular guests tonight, as always. That is Riz Akhtar from Carloop and also Rahul Prasad. Hello, gentlemen. How are we both?
Hey Tom, hey Rahul, going well?
Evening, everyone. This is my first show for the year, so great to be back. And hello, Tom and Riz. Great to catch up in person finally in Melbourne.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, indeed. Thanks so much for the hospitality, gents. Nice to catch up with both of you in real life. So, yeah. And always good to have you both back. Of course, we're getting back into gear, so to speak, for 2023. So, yeah, hope you both had a good summer and hope everyone watching too has had a good summer. It feels like it's ongoing in Sydney anyway. It was quite warm today, so I'm not complaining. We haven't had a real summer in a while, so enjoying the warm weather. We've got a special guest tonight, actually, everyone. I'm going to introduce to you Mr. Pete Thorne. Here he is. Pete, who is the president of the Tesla Owners Club of Australia. Hello, Pete. Welcome to Ludicrous Feed Live.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Riz. Hey, Rahul. Thanks for having me on tonight. Looking forward to the discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought, what better person to have on the stream for tonight's topic than yourself? You've been obviously a long time Tesla owner. Tell us what you own.
I currently drive a Model S 75D. My core car is now over 5 years old, and I'm awaiting my new Model Y Performance, which is imminent, I think we could say. It's well on the way. My darling partner drives a Model 3 rear-wheel drive. Loves her car. It's red with a white interior, so we are an all Tesla family. Yeah, that's us.
Yeah, fantastic. You sound very much like my situation, waiting for a Model Y as well. So I'm sure there are a few in the stream waiting for theirs too.
Few EV owners just like that.
Yeah, that's right. And Riz probably can tell us, we've had how many cars in Australia now? How many Teslas?
Oh, over 40,000
Wow.
in total. So it's growing pretty quickly.
Yeah. Pete, I mean, you and I, we've known each other for a long time now. 40,000. Can you imagine, like, how many years ago when we sort of met, like 5-6 years ago? That just seems like a dream back then, right?
Certainly was. Yeah, absolutely was. And, it was very much in that early adopter phase, and it's come such a very long way. And great to see the club's been around that long as well. Has been able to represent the owners and provide a lot of feedback. So very different company is the Tesla organization these days, and the club's grown with it.
That's right. So I suppose, yeah, let's talk a little bit about TOCA, or Tesla Owners Club of Australia. What is the club about? Like, who do they represent exactly?
Okay, so thanks, Tom. Yeah, TOCA represents the owners to Tesla. We are an affiliated club through the Tesla Owners Club, and it's a worldwide, I suppose you could call it an organization. We meet regularly with Tesla Australia, as well as the Tesla Global team. I sit on Tesla Global calls, but importantly, we meet with the AU management team to provide feedback. Tesla operates in its own special way, so they do appreciate feedback. Sometimes they can act on it, sometimes they can't, but there's plenty of our members out there who have had problems or have sought feedback, and they come back through the club and we can get information for them and help them understand it. Lots of other benefits from the club. I think we have a cable management loan program that goes out there, lots of discounts from different suppliers that cooperate with us, and then just importantly, the events that we run right across the country. In all states, there's events there to get together with EV drivers. And as you were saying, Tom, back in the early days, that was a really good thing. And that was how you got to see other EVs. Today, you just got to look in your rear vision mirror, look really hard. There'll be one or two of them back there somewhere, and you'll be following them as well. So that's really what the club's all about. I think there's about 1,100 members active these days at the moment. Profile of the owners is forever changing, or the members is forever changing as the cars become more affordable. Entry price on a Model 3 these days is getting, or has been quite cheap, and is quite an affordable car. So I suppose the average age of the membership is reducing, which is a great thing, and people see value in the club. So that's what we're about, and love seeing new members at events and joining the club.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. I mean, I must say, as an early adopter myself, I really appreciated the club back in the early days when there really wasn't much information, particularly relating to Australian Teslas. So having yourself and others that I could speak to directly was great. And as you said, the link to Tesla, that plumb line you've got to Tesla is fantastic. You can get feedback from us, and it goes two ways as well. So yeah, that's really
Oh,
good.
absolutely. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
And how do people join the club if they are interested?
Yeah, thanks. So the website's teslaowners.org.au. There's a link there to, one, you'll see all the information, but two, you can set up a user account and join. We have a few different membership levels. There's an associate membership level, which goes to, which is $20 a year for people who are getting on board, have got an order placed. Once you've got a vehicle, full membership's $50 a year. Quite good value, if I can say so myself. And we also have, so if you're a full member, your partner can join for an additional $2 as well and still get the same benefits. So,
yeah, awesome. And I'm just going to boast that my membership number is less than 100. Just saying. So I was there in the beginning.
Before me, then mine's a 300. So
oh, okay. Thanks, Pete, for that. Appreciate the rundown for the Tesla Owners Club of Australia. So check out the website if you guys are interested in joining. There it is, right there on the screen. But great to have you on, Pete. We'll certainly have you as part of the discussion tonight. Lots to discuss. But before we do, I just want to quickly. Sorry, Pete. I just want to quickly plug our partners for tonight, which is evsc.com.au. If you are looking for a straightforward Bluetooth-enabled EVSE or charger for your home, that's quite a good one. I've used that myself personally a couple of times. It's really easy to install, very easy to use, and you can spit out data for your charging as well. So if you need that for your business or whatever, we can spit out a CSV file or a PDF as needed. So that's use that. And also there's a coupon code as well, which I'll put up. Here we go. So Tesla Tom, let me just have a look. Tesla Tom will give you 5% off site-wide. So let's put that up there. There it is there. So quick plug for evsc.com.au. Thank you very much. All right, so gents, let's put up the big news for the last couple of days, which is, I guess, this one here. Just this is my tweet, unfortunately. But so as we know, the Tesla supercharger sites have opened to non-Tesla EVs. Well, there's 5 of them actually in New South Wales. And I tried one of them out today, but we've had sort of a whole barrage of comments about this from both sides of the camp, from Tesla owners and non-Tesla owners as well. And if you've just joined us, hello there. And make sure you vote in our poll as well, which is tonight's question: how do you feel about Tesla opening its superchargers to other EVs? We've got 4 options. Yes, open them all up, ! Limit the number of stalls per site. Limit to quiet locations only. And no, full stop, keep all of them Tesla only. So vote away. I want to hear what you guys think, because they'll be very interesting indeed. I might get Pete's comments straight away, actually. Pete, you said you've got that feedback back to Tesla. Have you heard anything that you can share with us at all about this?
So Tesla gave us a heads up a couple of weeks ago that this was on the way. Certainly didn't say they were going to do it this week, but they brought it in, and of course they, as part of the requirements under the New South Wales funding that they've received for all these additional sites they're putting in, any of the new sites needs to be open to all EVs. So this is Tesla getting their proverbial act together to get on with it, and they've proven they can do it. The feedback was this wasn't due until later next year as part of that program, but they brought it to market. And the feedback clearly from Tesla was they were really very direct in what they said, is that they want to get it done because every piece of all the revenue will go back into more and more supercharger build outs. So as much money as they can raise doing this, they're going to push it right back into the charging network. And just the chargers that are going to be installed across New South Wales is a very long list of ones that are coming up under that program. And as you've proven today, Tom, how easy it is to jump on there, set up an account, and go and charge another car. So it's a good move. Yes, there's going to be some angst out there across Tesla owners thinking they're out there, but importantly, it's Tesla's desire to open the network up to other people as part of that program. But importantly, have people able to get charging, get out there and driving EVs and really drive that mission.
Yeah, that's right. That we all know Tesla's mission, which is to accelerate the transition to electrification of the vehicular fleet. So, this is certainly
Mhm.
one way of doing that. Pete, can you share with us at all whether they're going to do this nationwide, or is it just the New South Wales sites they have to open up?
They haven't made any comment about that specifically, how wide they will go. But importantly, all those New South Wales sites need to go on. And it's they haven't made any comments about the rest of the network.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because the 5 sites that you can see there, they're pre-existing sites. They're not the new,
Mm.
new government-funded sites. So obviously they're just doing this as a pilot just to test it out.
Yep, test this. Got to make sure the software works. Make sure that they've got control of them. All these sites are going to have to remain online, of course, which they are all the time, of course. But get the software working, get it going. But from a Tesla perspective, Tesla don't do a lot of marketing, but won't it be great to have a Tesla app on everyone's phone?
Yeah.
So,
That's right.
Yeah.
And I've actually seen people say, well, it's kind of marketing because you've got a non-Tesla EV, you're going to rock up to a Tesla supercharger and then, oh, Tesla. Maybe I should get a Tesla, right? It's kind of marketing de facto,
Yeah.
so to speak. I might
Yep.
put a few comments up from people here. So Sydney EV, hey Rob, how you going? Need to remind people that they can only use the CCS2 part of the supercharger plugs, not the lower Type 2 only plug. Yep, that's a great statement there, Rob, indeed. Riz and Raul, I might get your thoughts on this too, actually, if you don't mind sharing. Raul, I might start with you. You did a road trip recently in your Model Y. What are your thoughts? Was it quite crowded on over that period, January period?
I'm trying to think. You know what? No, it wasn't. We traveled through Maui, through Narooma, and then into Sydney from there on. And Silo's estate in Berry as well. Both ways going back and forth. No, there wasn't a heavy, Tesla specific rush on these superchargers. In fact, I think Narooma and Berry Estate or Berry Silo's estate were sitting completely empty both times that we did rock up there. My thoughts personally, again, I agree with what you said, Pete, and then what you said, Tom. Open up these superchargers to one and all. Create that infrastructure stability that we are actually currently struggling with some of the other charger providers. And what Pete mentioned is that New South Wales funding element is obviously not fully funded. Obviously, it's a grant for a certain amount. And the more revenue that Tesla can get towards these superchargers obviously means that they can probably expand the stalls or top it up to 250 kilowatts, which I found at Mo to be ridiculously quick to charge. Popped in there, literally 10 minutes, got into KFC and was just like, hey, your car's nearly finished charging. You got to move.
Yeah, that's right. It's it's so convenient having those Tesla charging stops, isn't it? I mean, especially if you're in a Tesla. But now that they've opened up, or going to be opening up to everyone, I think it's a good thing personally. It'll make it safer for everyone to get to their destination, more reliably anyway. I'm going to put this comment up here from Gynam. This is going to be a game changing, and it won't create as much of a problem as some current Tesla owners think. I might throw this to Riz. Here's our numbers man, Riz from Carloop. He's got all the data. I mean, Riz, is this really going to be an issue? Are we going to be flooded with non-Tesla EVs, or is it just going to be more Teslas?
I think it's sort of a combination. We sort of touched on the marketing element of having a Tesla app on people's phones. That's huge. You can push anything on there if you wanted to. So just having that ability, Tesla has all the levers that they can pull with that. But at the same time, the pricing is not really like it's twice as much as most 50 kilowatt chargers. And I know these are 250, but I think for non-Teslas rated at 130 kilowatts, it's still a bit of a premium, but then you're paying premium for reliability. So there is a reason, and the membership option is great as well. Then Tesla just generates recurring revenue for people that use them regularly. So it is a good thing overall. Those that will want to use them, which I can't imagine, to begin with, a lot of people would, unless they're road tripping and then definitely, it's good to have a Tesla app before you get onto your road trip as well. So overall, I think it's not going to have as much of an impact on poor experience for current Tesla owners while they're road tripping. Most of the sites, like I visited 2 yesterday in Victoria, one in Mornington and the other one up in Box Hill, and there was one person charging at Mornington. They have 6 stalls, and I know it's not peak period or anything like that, but I think it's good if it means that they can be utilized when others are not using them. It can only be a good thing to promote EV adoption generally.
Yep, no, I agree with that, Riz. I'll throw a few comments up before I ask Pete a question. Gaffer, I think it's great. I also think starting with those sites that are at places that will help other EVs get out and see Australia, and it's important. Yep, very true. And Locksmack says, Tesla owner here with a BYD on order. I'm conflicted by them opening, but I think anything that increases revenue and therefore supercharger rollout should light a fire under competitors as well, EV and ChargeFox. Yeah. Pete, I might throw a question to you. I mean, there's been some feedback too, I've noticed on social media about the fact that us Tesla owners, particularly the early adopters, have, well, apparently paid a premium for that infrastructure or part of it. Now it's opening up to people like car brands that haven't invested anything, well, seemingly not invested anything into the charging network in Australia. How do we reconcile that, that difference?
I suppose I'll answer that from a personal perspective, not speaking on behalf of Toka, but I'm not overly concerned about it because people are going to be paying to use the network. They're going to, and when somebody just made a comment there about ChargeFox and EV, etc., and still these places around with 2 or 4 stalls, which isn't that convenient. But really encourage other EV owners to think about it. Downloading the Tesla app and joining. You're going to be able to pull up to charge stations or see them coming. You're going to be able to see how many are there, etc., and how many are available on the stalls, which is great information to have, which is sometimes unreliable if you're relying on PlugShare, etc. But importantly, back to your question, Tom, I really don't have an issue with it. Yes, I paid a lot of money for my first car. My Model Y performance will be less than the original Model S that I paid, which was nowhere near a performance car. But that was the price you pay as an early adopter, I think. And I'm absolutely proud of the number of 280,000 kilometers I put on the thing, and that's the price I paid for it. Yes, there was and I still have free supercharging on that car. When I get the Model Y, I'll be paying for charging all the time if I'm out on a road trip. The rest of the time I charge at home. So.
Yep, agreed. No, we all bought our Teslas with that knowledge in mind. I think we helped, we helped create that infrastructure. So it's not like they blindsided us. We kind of knew that was on the cards, I think. Pete, direct question for you from Gaffer. Did you hear anything about supercharger sites supporting CHAdeMO? Last year, the New South Wales government's guys said it would have to happen.
I have heard nothing about CHAdeMO at all on superchargers, no.
Okay. And another comment from Hosa. As a Tesla owner and the fact that I have an Atto 3 on order, this will be interesting to see. And living in Alice in the middle of the NT, more the better. Yeah, I'd love to see a Tesla supercharger in the Northern Territory. That would make it very interesting indeed. Yes, and Rob says, recharging any EV, first word comes to mind, it will be Tesla. Yeah, I certainly get asked by friends and family, how do you supercharge, insert non-Tesla EV here? Then I've got to sort of say, well, it's not really supercharging back then anyway.
I'm just going to raise a quick point there quickly. Just going back to what Pete just said. Great comments there, Pete. My situation at my home is I actually don't have a garage where I can actually plug the car in. So I do charge publicly. But I also think people are also habitually, prone to sort of doing routine things. So even though I do have superchargers close to me at Richmond, at Moonee Ponds, at Box Hill, the amount of times in the last year that I've actually gone and used those superchargers, 0. I don't have supercharging, sort of free supercharging. I do have to pay for it with the Model Y. So I go to the closest charger, which is closest to me is the EV charger up in Collingwood Toy Library, or I plug into a 240 volt power point at the back of my house, or at the local shopping center where they have like a 7 kilowatts or an 11 kilowatt charging sort of station available there. So, I think great. Again, just great that these chargers are opening up to everyone, because the people who do need to use them, like say somebody in Alice Springs or Northern Territory or out in the middle of nowhere, that'd be great for them. But the people who are going to use these chargers are going to be the ones who are going to be traveling on a road trip, or if it's or they have free supercharging credits, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, I'll put this comment up here from P2N, assuming he or she is a Polestar owner. Greater than 30% premium means they'll remain as a backup for many people, and I think this is a really good point. I think given the price, as you can see on the screen there, 79 cents per kilowatt hour, discounted to what we get as Tesla owners, the 66 if you're paying $9.99 a month. That's still quite expensive compared to EV, the next most expensive one at 60 cents per kilowatt hour. So I reckon, I'm just putting myself in the shoes of a non-Tesla owner, having done a BYD trip to Melbourne from Sydney. I would still choose a non-Tesla charger as first option. And then if it doesn't work, I'd head over to a supercharger if that option was there. And in the past, I've seen a non-Tesla owner get stuck at say Goulburn because the charge box was down and they were desperately trying to find a charge. So I think having a backup option for everyone is a safe thing to do. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, it's
absolutely. Yeah, Plan B is fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people want to treat them as. That's great.
Yep. And Sydney EV again says makes shorter range non-Tesla EVs more capable of longer trips now using the Tesla network once it opens up. That's so true. Well, there was some concern about my BYD today charging a little bit slow at 89 kilowatts. That's a fair comment. It's going to take maybe 15 minutes more than it should for a car that can charge faster. So I guess that's one drawback.
It does take time to build your dreams. So that could be one of the reasons. But I think, the way things are at the moment, I guess there's the redundancy at Tesla superchargers. And most EV owners are considerate enough. If they see a non-Tesla charging at one of these sites, they know it may not be able to charge as quickly. But people just have to be courteous and considerate of others as well. Like Tom, remember when we did that trip from Sydney to Canberra, and I think at Southern Forest there was 2 chargers, EV site. One of them was broken, and the other one there was a lady charging her MG ZS, the previous generation car, and she'd been to 2 broken chargers already, trying to get a little bit of charge in. And you just feel, a little bit sorry for the fact that the charging infrastructure is so poor. And having Tesla open it up, I think it's a great thing. Also, just on the membership, I saw a few comments today. Apparently in Europe, it's 20 euros a month.
Wow.
I need to double check that, but I believe that's the case. So we're not getting such a bad deal here.
Yeah, and their charging rates are quite high, aren't they, Riz? Like almost €1 a kilowatt hour over there.
Yeah. Some of them, Tesla has brought them down a little bit in quite a few European countries recently as the energy prices are coming down. So I think Tesla is fair on that front, and that gets passed on to non-Tesla owners as well. So I think they're being fair.
I'll just put Greg's comment up here, one of our members. I think the biggest impact will be at supercharging sites at shopping centers. These are already packed, but I guess the idle fees will kick in. Yep. I love the fact that there are idle fees, by the way. And I think all providers should really implement them. It's a way to really roll over the charging stalls, as opposed to someone parking their EV there all night to watch a movie or have dinner and think they can keep it there. So
I think the stalls are pretty open at the Toombul Shopping Centre in Queensland, where the supercharger side no longer exists.
I see. Okay. Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? They had some flooding there this year, didn't they, unfortunately? Old Toombul. Yep.
I think, Tom, just quickly, one other point as well is I think we've got to stop thinking about Tesla as just about being a automobile manufacturer. They're an energy company dealing with Tesla solar, Tesla battery, generating revenue through multiple streams with supercharging. Most likely, they will probably, looking at what they're doing with the supercharging sites now, probably go down the route of licensing FSD or giving IP of FSD to other people as well, or to other manufacturers as well. So between all those revenue streams, I guess you just got to look at Tesla being such a big, different sort of company in terms of generating revenue from so many different avenues, not just cars.
Yep. Thank you to Anthony for a super sticker tonight. Thank you so much. There you go, $14.99. Appreciate that, Anthony, and thank you for all your support from everyone too. Yeah, here's a good point from P2N again. Just buy a month's membership when going on a road trip, then cancel. And I actually worked out, and I think I posted on Twitter. You've got to drive 500 kilometers if your efficiency is about 150 watt hours per kilometer to actually get value for a $9.99 per month membership. So if you're going to drive that much, I think it might be worth looking into for that month exactly. Well, gents, let's talk a little bit about not just charging, but let's talk about the whole picture. You know, tonight's live stream topic is the Tesla Advantage coming to an end in Australia? Let's talk a bit more about that. This is certainly one aspect of why I still think, well, prior to this week, I kept saying to people why Tesla's still ahead because of the supercharging network. How much of an advantage has it lost? I'll start with you, Pete. Is it a big hit for them?
Sorry, Tom, in what aspect? What's a big hit?
As in, because that was certainly one of the advantages of Tesla ownership, in that you had access to the Tesla network. Now everyone is potentially going to have it too.
Yeah, so not everyone's going to have it. They're not going to open up all sites, but you know, we who knows what they'll do, whether it's going to work for them or not. But you know, it's not going to, in my mind, personally, I don't think it's going to take too much of an edge off being a Tesla owner. And I think 50% of me being a Tesla owner and a Tesla fanatic, I suppose, is keen to see it. But then, you know, I want to see the adoption of EVs right across the nation. And if this drives it through and will help, it's just another nail in the coffin for the ICE cars, the ICE vehicles, right? Need to get them off the road, get everybody onto electrification and really move it through. And it's just going to really help. I don't think it's going to do too much damage to Tesla as long as they manage it appropriately. You know, we've got to work out how they're going to manage the charge stations. Got to keep this, one of the biggest, I think the biggest things Tesla are going to have to do is make sure they keep this network ultra reliable. They can't afford to end up with a reputation like some of the others that have got out there. Like I know that site at Sutton Forest, I drive past it every day. And even just like, you know, I've spoken to people at that site and I've spoken to the owners of that charge network, and really frustrating when they're down. And I sent someone, there was a lady driving what car she was driving, and she needed to charge. So I was going to send her to Mittagong RSL Club, which isn't too far away, an NRMA charger, but is that reliable as well? So reliability of this network has always been extremely good. The online compatibility of it's always been extremely reliable. So it's going to be some good things there, and I don't think it's going to lose too much of the edge because there's so much more to the Tesla vehicle and Tesla technology. Yep,
good points, Pete. I agree with you there. Riz, I'll start with you as well. You know, what other pillars or moats, I should say, that's kind of a thing thrown around, moats around Tesla that are keeping it number one still?
I think the product itself is, you know, gets better with time. I think all of our cars are better than, from a user experience and ownership experience point of view, are better than what they were when we purchased them. That's, you know, I still don't see, testing many other vehicles, I still don't see that changing. We've got a Mercedes at the moment. This is not a shot at Mercedes or anything like that, but the software just seems like every other Mercedes, which is not a bad thing if you're a Mercedes owner, but it's not EV ready. Even though it's an electric vehicle that we're driving, it's not the same. Whereas every time you get into these cars, you go and test drive them, you jump back in your own car and you think this is like years ahead. And everything works, everything does what it needs to do, and every software update is, yes, we'll find a few bugs here and there, but overall, it just improves that overall experience, and that's very hard to beat. The amount of people that are impacted by the supercharging news, let's say Tesla owners, a lot of people, like, I don't road trip very much. I don't have a family to road trip with, and even when I will be road tripping, then it's convenience. Like, you know, if Tesla supercharging is there, it's great. Otherwise, stop at a non-Tesla supercharger, or not a supercharger, but like a fast charger, and then it's all good as well. I think it's just, once people get used to this, the fact that the product itself is so good, most non-Tesla owners will aspire to become Tesla owners.
Okay, big call, Riz. I like that. Rahul, I mean, speaking of road trips, you obviously just said you've been on the one with your family. How much autopilot did you use on the trip?
Oh, look, heaps. Yeah. Most of that route from country Victoria past Lakes Entrance, Bairnsdale, going into Pambula, Merimbula area was done mostly on cruise control, AP or FSD use. I probably used it more than my wife did. She's not 100% confident of its ability, but I guess I drive more. Riz, we need to find you a family so you can road trip around Australia. You are going to love road tripping around Australia. After 2 years of lockdowns and not being able to travel, it was such an amazing experience. Like seeing that South Coast was brilliant. So much so that we've actually rebooked that trip again for next year for January. And you know what? Can River is open now. That makes it that trip between, or that leg between Lakes Entrance, Bairnsdale, up to Merimbula, Pambula, so much easier because there is a charger in between there as well.
Yep, I heard that today. So yeah, great news. And I'll just quickly throw to this because, sorry, gents, wrong button. If you want to know whether your supercharger will be open next, here's a little game you can play. So this is something I posted too. This is the Holy Dean charger as an example. The wheel stop on the left there has been removed 1 year later from April last year to Jan this year. That's to allow other non-Tesla EVs to, I guess, drive up closer so you can plug in better. This picture on the right here is Wollongong, the new charger in Wollongong, and you see how the stalls are side on and there's no wheel stop at all. So obviously Tesla is preparing themselves to open up to everyone. And Riz, I think you mentioned too, no more Tesla only charging, signage, right?
Yeah, and where they did, sites they opened end of 2021, like Mornington down here in Victoria. We had a Tesla Owners Club, Cars and Coffee there in December, a year later, and they had painted where it says Tesla cars or Tesla EVs only. They've sort of painted the EVs only section and removed the Tesla as well. So, and you can still see it underneath the paint, but they're starting to gear things up quite quickly. So yeah, we'll probably be seeing this rollout happen very quickly, like we saw in Europe.
Could you give us an idea of how quick it was in Europe?
Oh, from memory, it was like they're rolling out some countries end of sort of, I think 2021, and now there's like quite a few countries there, and I'm not sure of the exact figures, but lots and lots of supercharger sites are open to non-Tesla EVs now. So it could happen very quickly, but Tesla, I guess, has to time it with their new sites they're opening up as well to give existing owners the confidence that they're not really losing out.
That's right. I think what would be really interesting is to see what happens during those busy days like Good Friday, Anzac Day, Boxing Day, Labor Day. That's when it'll be stress tested. And whether all these comments about whether these non-Tesla EVs flooding the sites will be true or not. So I'm looking forward to seeing that those busy periods. Here's a question here from Oliver, another member. Did anyone see that left-hand drive updated Tesla Model S with Queensland plates for testing in Australia? Yes, I sure did. I might put a picture of it now. Let's see if that's the correct one. Yes, so this is posted by one of our community members at 13arm13arm. A LHD left-hand drive 2021 Model S spotted at the Toowoomba Supercharger. Private import? Query, how would it charge? Or Tesla testing? Oh, Pete's got his hand up. Yes, Pete.
Tesla did give us a heads up about these ones. There's two black Teslas floating around. There's a Model S and Model X. We're all aware of Tesla doing cold weather testing with batteries over in New Zealand. Everyone does it. They've been doing some hot weather testing in Australia.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Hot weather. I mean, how hot do they want it to be? I mean, what, 40? 45?
I asked the question. I'm sure there's places in the world that could get better hot weather testing, especially in the US. but that's what they were doing. They had two black cars in Australia, and they're ready to leave. I was told a few weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah. No word on when they're coming, though. You can't drop that bomb on us. No.
They we ask the question on every call because I do have a Model S Plaid on order, longer order than my Model Y, and yeah, no feedback whatsoever. The years away, I would suggest.
Okay. Well, if anyone wants to see sorry, Pete. Yeah. Yep.
Sorry,
I was going to
much
say
harder job to transfer it from left-hand drive to right-hand drive than it was when the original Model S and X's. So.
Yep, I agree. Well, if anyone wants to see a plaid, I did video one in LA when I was there in December, so check that video out with the Cybertruck at the Peterson Museum if you want to have a look at that. Yeah, so Gaffer says, back to the Wollongong one. Let's just go back to that so you guys can see. So from the point of view of that Wollongong shot, the stall just out of the shot to the right has a bay to the left and a right one. So I think it's ready for weirdly placed power on EVs. Or is that more for the trailer, like the really long vehicles maybe as well? But yeah, that'll work as well, Gaffer. Gaffer's a Wollongong resident, so thank you for that insight. Wouldn't mind going down there to have a look. I reckon surely it's got to be one that's going to be switched on pretty soon. That's actually one of the funded ones, Pete, isn't it? I think from memory.
I don't recall, sorry.
I think it was Gents Risen Roll from last year, one of the new ones.
I can't remember myself.
Okay. I think it was. All right. Thank you, Tom.
Where's Nash?
Where's Nash? We need Nash. All right, moving on. So yeah, Riz, you shared this picture with me. So Model 3, look at that, Model 3 deliveries, February to May. That's like now, if you want to order a Model 3 in Australia. Unbelievable.
It's happening. It's the lowest sort of we've seen since late 2021, which is pretty good to see. And, when people say you can't get an EV, well, you can. Obviously, you pay a premium for Tesla, but I think it's well worth it. With the stock and with, I guess, the shipments that are coming in, there's just opportunity for anyone. Look, particularly for Model 3s, existing inventory comes up all the time across all states and territories at the moment. So keep an eye out. And it's really good to see that you can get a Tesla in under a month. And US times are also very similar now. I think it's sort of like February to March, you can get a car there. So it's good to see Tesla's done what Elon said they would, which is that lead times were embarrassingly long, and they've reduced them, and they've reduced the prices in Australia as well last month.
Yeah, that's right. It's amazing. Like, considering last year owners were waiting 9 months for a Model 3, so and congratulations to all the Model 3 owners who've finally got them. So yeah, the wait is over. So well done. Hope you're enjoying your vehicles. But yeah, if you order one today, you can get one in the next 3 months. So that's pretty cool. And leading on from that, Riz, here's your chart here from Carloop. Lead times certainly are coming down.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like now. And even in sort of Feb, there's sort of the upper limit lead times for up to 12 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks to get one if you did order one, according to what the configurator is saying. So yeah, it's good to see now is the time to buy one, and it is cheaper than what it was for most of 2022. So we talk about inflation. It's deflation with Tesla prices.
Mm-hmm. That's right. We heard Elon talk at the recent what do you call it?
Earnings call.
Earnings call. That's right. He was saying they're preparing for deflation. So again, they're seeing the future, as always. Here is a good question from Manuel. Are we expecting the prices to drop again as they have in the US, Europe, and China? So our price drops were quite modest, like in the low 2 to 5%. And we got huge drops in the US, like 20% for the Model Y and some bits. So anybody want to hazard a guess? Are we going to get bigger drops?
I think the US, it ramped up quickly as well. Like their prices went up very, very quickly, and significant amounts as well. A lot of them are sort of back to where they were late 2021 now. And it's to do with obviously the incentives that are potentially coming in the US as well for consumers to take advantage of. So Tesla wants to sell as many cars as possible, and those incentives also help people out, and it opens the door for new customers that have never purchased an EV before. In Australia, though, traditionally we've had a lack of competition in the EV space. shipping costs are still pretty high to get cars from, China to Australia. So we may not see many more cuts as such, unless there's something hidden and we don't know about in the National Electric Vehicle Strategy that's supposed to come out in June, I think. Then Tesla will maybe gear up if there is incentives in there for, vehicles, let's say, that have got a retail price of under 60,000 as an example. Then we might see them cut prices even further. But at this stage, I don't see much happening.
Yep. I'm just going to throw a spanner in the works. I mean, one thing that could drop again for Tesla is, back to today's topic, is the Tesla advantage coming to an end? I mean, Elon Musk did say in the earnings call, the only competitor he mentioned was like a company out of China. Which company out of China are we talking? Are we BYD, NIO, XPeng? I mean, if they start coming here, that could certainly threaten some of the pricing. Yeah.
I think that's a good point, Tom. Yeah, but look, I think it comes down to the only reason why Tesla would reduce prices in Australia currently would be if the competition actually caught up. But when you look at Polestars, when you look at Volvos, when you look at Mercedes, BMW, Genesis, all their pricing is around that mark. There is no reason for Tesla to drop their pricing. Correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, as well. I believe that Tesla Model 3 was the highest selling sedan in Australia in the month of December. And this is not just for EVs, this is across all formats as well. And I think Elon said as well, there's no other competition globally. If they're looking at making 1.4 million cars globally, is what their suggestion is for the financial year 23-24. In the words of Private Hudson from Aliens, when the spaceship does crash, they're like, game over, man, game over. I don't think the game ever caught up to Tesla. They're well and truly run away with it at the moment.
Yep. Yeah, and I agree. I think Tesla's still number one at the moment in Australia. Yep. Pete, you're going to
Tom,
say something?
I think if there is some major change comes out of the NEVS program, if they come up with some good recommendations there, it could open the floodgates from some other manufacturers, which I think Tesla would just be saying game on. Okay. And there could be some price movement at that point, but at this stage, pricing's, I think, considered pretty good for the price of the car, and for what you get, bang for bucks, I suppose. And yes, I am very much on the Tesla bandwagon, but it's still a great piece of technology. So, but Tom, I was thinking earlier when you invited me to the call, what is the Tesla advantage? Are they losing their edge? And can I just give you a quick summary on that?
Please.
I think you and I both went through this in my Model S. I'll give you an example. My Model S is a 2017 model. I think yours, Tom, was, what's your car?
2015.
2015, yeah, okay.
Yep.
So my poor old 2017 car, I drove for quite a while, and correct me on the hardware numbers, guys, I think it was hardware level 2, and Tesla all of a sudden came to me and said, we could upgrade your car and bring it up to the same as my business partner's 2020 model. Okay, pull out both computers, bring it in, pull out both computers, replace them, plug in 2 new ones, give us $3,000, drive out with a brand new car. You want to throw down the gauntlet to other EV manufacturers, start doing that. Mercedes, BMW, anybody want to have a go? Imagine going in there, walking into BMW today and saying, take the infotainment system out of my car and put in last year's model, please. They'd look at you and have you certified, right? That's part of the real, I think, Tesla advantage in there. And I just hope everybody else moves along with it. It's about technology. And I'm sure, sorry guys, Riz, I'm not sure he said it before, but it's not about just driving a car. This is much more than a car, what you're driving there. And it's really, let's hope this takes it, gives it to all the other manufacturers to stand up and perform and get up there.
Yep. No, well said, Pete. Yep. I was the same. I took out the MCU1, put in the MCU2. Again,
Right.
I'd challenge anyone to do that in a car. Couldn't believe it.
Absolute game changer,
I feel like I was driving a brand new car. So yeah, I mean, as you said, like bring it on. Like if anyone, if any other, any other brand does that, then I think all the better for everyone. So Yep.
I think I experienced that level of upgrade improvement when I upgraded the stock standard head unit in 1998 Hyundai Excel to an Alpine one. And now I had a digital LCD screen that displayed what song was playing.
Wow.
That was remarkable. But, that's back in the ice days.
What a game changer is.
But Tom, imagine all the 2019 Model 3 owners out there now.
Yeah.
With that, and they're all they'd be considered legacy cars now, maybe with today's technology, and slide into a service center one day. There you go. Now have a 2023 model.
Yep, I'm one of them too. Yep, we were one of the first shipments for the Legacy 2019. Still a great car, by the way. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Rob from Sydney EV says, in 10 years, we could only have two, the big two, Tesla and BYD worldwide for EVs. It's certainly looking that way at this stage, yeah. And he says BYD will be the only one that's close to Tesla at this stage. And he also says Toyota still thinks it's not the right time for EVs, sadly. Yep.
One day.
One day. Come on, Toyota. Pull your socks up. All right. I am going to put up another slide here, speaking of BYD, because this is, BYD has launched in Japan, which is good. Another right-hand drive market. Yeah, they really are testing the right-hand drive markets too. And here we go, expecting to introduce the BYD Dolphin and BYD Seal later this year too. So I'm looking forward to driving those cars. I think they'll be good. Good to have a Dolphin, which is a Toyota Corolla-sized vehicle, and the Seal, which is supposed to be the Model 3 competitor. So, yeah, watch this space. And Riz, speaking of BYD, here we go. This is your article here from The Driven. Big news today. Sixt is the car rental arm of NRMA are going to bring in more affordable EVs for Australians to rent. And there's a picture of a BYD Atto 3.
Yeah, so it's happening. It's part of a deal that was announced in October last year, where BYD would supply 100,000 new energy vehicles to Sixt globally over the coming years. And those new energy vehicles in Europe could also include plug-in hybrids in certain markets that BYD produces. In Australia, though, they're launching with the Atto 3, which I think it's a great car, and in terms of affordability, it's one of the more affordable EVs that's available, priced lower than many Toyota RAV4 models today. And I think the closer you can bring the price of a rental to an ICE car, let's say it's $30 or $40 a day, dearer to rent out an electric vehicle, but you save that in fuel, especially if you're driving it long term, for a road trip or anything like that. So yeah, great to see 500 in the next 12 months in Australia, which is roughly 0.5% of the 100,000 that BYD will be supplying. So that means there's potential for more as the market grows in Australia.
Riz, do you know, as a comparison, how many Polestars or Model 3s that someone like Hertz has in Australia?
Locally, they've been quite a bit hush-hush about it. But Sixt previously, some of the research we did midway through last year, they had under 150 EVs in total, which included Tesla Model 3s as well as MG ZSs. And there were a couple of BMW iX3s, I think, as well. So yeah, they didn't have a very big fleet, but apparently they've got over 16,000 cars to rent in Australia. So 500 out of the 16,000 is a good step. Let's say they had 250 before that. That's 750 out of the 16,000 in the next 12 months that will be EVs. So hopefully they'll also grow their Tesla, MG, and other fleets as well in that period of time, so they can start to, get more EVs, and they're more affordable in terms of to rent when you don't have to fill up, but also for the company. I think Hertz did a study saying their Tesla fleet that they've got costs half as much to maintain compared to their ICE fleet. So that's, and it just makes business sense for them to be going EVs.
Yeah, totally. And you don't have to bring a EV with a full charge. I think in general for Hertz back to them, you can they will charge it for you. I think it's part of their clause. They're more leaning with that. I just want to send commiserations to Oliver. It looks like he's had an accident with his Audi e-tron, so he's using a Hertz Polestar 2. So at least there's a little fallback for you there, Oliver. Hopefully you get back in your car soon. I must say it's actually quite difficult to hire a Hertz EV or even a 60 EV. I've tried looking for one just to test for the channel, but there aren't that many around, and they're not in that many locations. So, having 500 BYDs will really be very handy. At the moment, they seem to be only limited to the capital cities. So if you want to go to, say, somewhere on the coast, it's actually quite difficult. So hopefully this will change things. Charles. Charles says, hi, Charles. Other Tesla news. Today is the 15-year anniversary of the first Tesla Roadster deliveries. Wow, 15 years. Unbelievable. 2008, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Hmm.
Amazing. Yeah, all right. Let's see. If you've just joined us, hello. We're almost done, but that's okay. Welcome anyway. There's still a poll to vote in. So how do you feel about Tesla opening its superchargers to other EVs? It looks like half of you have voted yes, open them all up. So that's quite encouraging. It means that, people want them to open up, which is good. And only 15% are saying, no, keep them all Tesla only. Keep them all Tesla only. I think that's looking less likely, I think, Jens, don't you think, at this stage? I think they're going to open up. So, shame.
Gonna do it. Yep.
H2 Ride is saying lots has changed in 15 years. It sure has. It really has in 15 years since the Roadster 2 was delivered. Yep. And I'm just going to put up this slide as well. I'll just go back one, which is, this is interesting. The NRMA tweeted this week, EV drivers in Sydney and Canberra now have access to emergency charging after the unveiling of our newest mobile EV chargers for members. This new service is the latest step forward in our effort to further support the transition to EVs in Australia. I think they're going to carry a 4 kilowatt hour battery in that, in that ice ute of theirs. So what's that? 4 kilowatt hours. You can probably get 20 Ks, maybe 20, 25 kilometers out of a charge. Might be enough to get to maybe a charger or somewhere you can plug into at least.
Get you to a PowerPoint. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's better than nothing. So thank you, NRMA, for that.
So Tom, NRMA are doing a lot of work, and they're doing a great job in fending off some of their older members as well. I don't know if you read their articles, but they respond so well to the anti-EV criticism they cop every time they bring it up. So really quite proud of their efforts. Yeah.
They've definitely got to juggle that, don't they, Pete? Sort of massaging that transition for sure. So yeah, hats off to them. I think there was some comments on Twitter on why is this an ice ute? Why not electric? I think they are trying to transition over, but I'll just go back one slide again, and that is this article here. So here we go. Mining electric vehicle company Mevco made headlines this week with an order for 8,500 electrified Toyota Hiluxes and Land Cruisers from Australian company C Electric. Anyone from NRMA is watching? There you go. There's an option right there. Fit that out. You look even better. That's well done. C Electric's doing some good stuff there in this space.
Yeah, they've got some of the light trucks. I've been to the facility down here in Dandenong in Melbourne, and yeah, they're expanding pretty quickly, not only in Australia, but in the US as well. So they've got global vision of what they're trying to do. And this is, I think conversions, if done right, could be quite good. And they've been doing conversions for a long time. So now they get a chassis of a truck, and they just fit it out with their own battery technology, as well as the motors that they've designed with all the thermal systems, and they work and customers buy them. So it's great to see.
Yep, definitely. And a comment from P2N, nice addition NRMA, just back to that previous slide. Just enough to get to a charger is what's needed to reassure new EV drivers, for sure. I guess the other option is to actually carry one of those portable electric batteries in your car if you're really worried. I think they're about 4 kilowatt hours too at the top of the range, like EcoFlow, for example. So, if you're really worried, you can carry that.
I've got one. You wouldn't want to pick it up.
Yeah. They're pretty heavy. Yeah.
It's a damn heavy jerry can.
I think even the base model is like 13 kilograms. So good luck.
Oh, no, mine's the one I've got's over 30 kilo. Struggle to pick it up.
Yeah. And that would actually add weight to the car, I guess. I might drop the range just doing that. That's an aside.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're pretty close to the end, gents. Is there anything else you want to add, Pete, at all for tonight? Closing comments.
No, Tom, look, thanks very much for the opportunity to come on. I was really happy to hear from you to talk about this one. And yeah, it's great to get people to understand what Tesla's doing, et cetera, and what the future is about. And the more we can get more and more people into EVs, it's just great. And it's, the Tesla Owners Club is not just about people driving Teslas. Yes, that's the group of people we are. But we've got members that buy other vehicles all the time. One that will remain nameless that I speak to regularly. I think he's up to about car number 8 at the moment. He's tried them all, bought and sold quite a few of them, and still comes back to Tesla, including his wife, very critical of his moves, and just give me back my Tesla Model S, is I think her key statement. But it's and really, guys, so thanks very much. Love the channel, Tom. Always looking at it. Appreciate your feedback and love the work you're doing with that BYD.
Thank you, Pete, and thanks for being on. One last question from Greg, who's asked me to ask you, what was the biggest thing TOCA has achieved with Tesla Australia? Tough question.
Tough question, that one. It's really about representation. It's about having that voice with Tesla. That's what we've been able to achieve, and we do. One of the things I have to do quite often is step in the middle of people that may have service issues. Don't get involved, but it's just a matter of putting the case forward and speaking with a bit of a level head. So a lot of our owners will come to us with service problems, etc. Although I don't hear about a lot of the results, they do get looked after, and I hear back from people to say thanks for your help. So it must be working. It's always a good thing. One of the biggest Tesla's out there trying to grow at the moment. So if anybody knows anybody who would love to work for a electric car industry, jump onto the careers page. There's jobs everywhere out there. But it's just that really the representation with Tesla and being able to get on with it. Tesla do invite us to all of their events, etc., and they really want to get the owners involved. Had a big opening up in Queensland recently, and we filled their car park with owners' cars during the middle of the week, and I think there's one happening in Melbourne very soon. So they really want to embrace the owners and get on with it. But a massively changing organisation, and we try and keep our arms around it and keep close.
Thank you, Pete.
Thanks for your question.
Yeah, no, I agree. For me, it seems like an advocacy group really for owners who are Tesla owners. So yeah, I think it's certainly well worth joining. I've closed the poll, everyone. So thank you, everyone, for voting. We had 145 respondents. That's pretty good. A good sample size. And we had 52% saying, yes, open all the superchargers up to other EVs. So thanks, everyone. That's a vote of confidence there. And feed that back to Tesla, please, Pete. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you.
Next most was 18% saying limit the number of stalls per site. Interesting. Okay. I'm sure they could probably do that dynamically as well if there are a lot of Tesla vehicles coming in at once. Number 3, limit to quiet locations only. 14% of you said that. And finally, 14% of you said no, keep all of them Tesla only. All right. All your opinions are valued, of course. So thank you very much. All 145 of you voting tonight. And as always, I want to thank our 2 guests tonight, Riz and Rahul. Thank you, Riz, as always.
No worries. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Pete, for coming on. And good to see you, Rahul.
Yeah, thanks, Rahul. Thanks for your first appearance this year. Thank you.
Most welcome. Great to be back, gentlemen. Pete, thank you for coming on. Great job with TOCA. Hopefully, I will make it to one of the events very soon, but with a 4-year-old and a 10-month-old, it's a little bit difficult to get away. But fingers crossed. I was just going to add a couple of things quickly, Tom. I could have used one of those NRMA mobile chargers between Bairnsdale and Merimbula, because we did the last 10 minutes of that drive at 0%. That's
Wow.
That's another advantage of that Tesla technology. It did run at 0% for about 10 kilometers and got us to our hotel. And the fact that we could just plug into a 240 volt power point and got about 22% charge the next morning to get to Narooma. Couldn't say that with many other cars. And in terms of final thing, in terms of opening up the supercharging network, I think it's great. If in a couple of months' time or in a week's time, I rock up to a Tesla charger, and there is a Polestar or a BYD, I just love those interactions with other people who've got other EVs, and Tesla being the uniting factor that brings these people together. mission for environment change. I think that's beautiful.
Yep. No, very well said, Raoul. I think that's I think I read that today too. It's just that, having being able to see all the different EVs at the superchargers now, as opposed to just seeing other Teslas, which is not a bad thing. But hey, variety is the spice of life, right?
Give us all a chance to see some other cars
Exactly.
and say
All right, Pete,
hi
well,
to other people charging.
Exactly. Thank you. Thanks, Pete. Thanks once again for joining us tonight. Really appreciate your time.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, Tom. Anytime I can help.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we'll have you back later in the year too. All right, gents, thank you so much. As always, we'll see you next time. And thank you, everyone, for commenting tonight. And we shall see you hopefully next week on Ludicrous Feed Live. Take care, everyone. Have a good night and happy charging.
Bye-bye.